Hello everyone, that Manga Kid here to do a first impressions of To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts by Maybe. This is published physically by Vertical, which obviously Kodansha now owns, so you can also buy it digitally through Kodansha. I own the first 7 volumes digitally, as I purchased them in a Humble Bundle in 2020. So I've read the first 7 volumes, so that's what I'm kind of talking about in this video, though I will be not giving spoilers, but just so you know how far I've read at this point. I think that there's like 12 or 13 volumes or something out. There might be more than that at this point, and I don't entirely know how long this series is supposed to be. There is also an anime, but I've not seen it, which I believe is only 12 episodes long, so clearly it doesn't cover the entire manga, and I don't think the manga's finished, so that wouldn't be possible anyway. But basically, our main character is Shal, I believe is how you pronounce her name. Could be wrong. And she is the daughter of one of the beasts that were used in the war. So basically, it is now post-war, and during the war, there was some human experimentation, mutation stuff happening where they were turning some people into these beasts in order to gain an upper hand over their enemies. And so the beasts, they were the incarnates, I think they call them, were the heroes of the war. They are what won the war, basically, but now it's after the war, and they're entering an era of peace. And these incarnates are no longer really human, and so there are beast hunters. The government is basically trying to eliminate these beasts. They're trying to kill them, these incarnates, because they don't need them anymore. And so it is a bit of a commentary, and when I say a bit, it's definitely a commentary on war veterans and, you know, how we treat or how the world treats veterans who've, you know, laid their lives out for everybody else's freedom, I guess. And then when they return home, how we just kind of forget, or conveniently forget, all of their work. And yeah, so it's definitely a commentary on war as a whole, but also treatment of veterans in particular. And I'm from Canada, so we have a bit of a different kind of view of the military than, say, America does, and obviously of the way that Japan does. But yeah, I think that it is an interesting commentary. This title is something I've been super intrigued by since it started releasing physically years ago, but I just never got around to purchasing it, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to try it out digitally. I really enjoyed it. I think the art is fantastic. If you like gothic kind of action series, like, this is amazing. So basically, I'll get back on topic here. Shal is the daughter of one of these beasts who has now been slain by Hank, who is also an incarnate, but he was the captain of that platoon or whatever they're called. So he has now taken it upon himself to go around and kill all of his fellow incarnates, because he feels responsible for them losing their humanity. He feels like it is his duty to use his own incarnate power to get rid of the incarnates before they entirely lose their humanity, which some of them are already, you know, killing people and doing other things that just, you know, fall outside the realm of humanity at this point. And he wants to get rid of them so that the government doesn't have to. And because he's doing it from his heart, because he cares about these people, he worked with them, alongside them, they risked their lives together, and he wants to be the one to kind of fulfill their agreement, that if they ever lose their humanity, they would kill each other, and he wants to be the one to fulfill that before the government just comes in and heartlessly murders them all. He wants to let them go with peace and honor and dignity, and so basically he kills Shal's father, and she blames him, and she kind of ends up, you know, trying to attack him and realizing that he's not a horrible person. He's complicated, and that, you know, she ends up kind of tagging along with him, not really to his liking. He's like, you're a kid, you're in my way. If you can't keep up, your problem, not mine. But yeah, the paneling is super cool. The action, I mean, this is just like a simple scene here, but the action in this story is incredible when the incarnates start fighting and stuff. But even just like these earlier scenes, it's stunning. The art is so cool. The action is so cool, and I'm really intrigued. Every few chapters is like a new incarnate that they've come across or that they're hunting down to kind of lay to rest. But then as the story goes on, the military gets involved because, like I said, the government is trying to get rid of these incarnates, as well as the mystery unfolding of how these incarnates came to be in the first place. Who created them? How did they get created? What are they up to now? Because there's some faction of them that are causing some trouble and potentially trying to actually make more incarnates. And so, yeah, this is like a multiple sides kind of thing all at war, even though the main war is over, but now there's like there's tensions rising between the government, the incarnates, who want their own freedom and want respect and want, you know, whatever. And then Hank and Shal, who are so intertwined with all of this, but also outsiders. And it's just really well done. And I've really enjoyed these 7 volumes that I read. Yeah. There's a bit of fan service. There's one woman in particular with huge boobs, who comes in a bit later, and doesn't necessarily take away from the story, but it just like, I'm like, it didn't have to be there. Like, it could have just not been there, but it's whatever. Because it just doesn't fit the vibe of the story. But I guess to get anybody's attention, you have to put boobs. But yeah, other than that, really, it's really cool. I don't know yet if I'm going to purchase it physically or not, but it is in the edition. It's in those like really small vertical editions that I love so much. It's like the original Flowers of Evil single editions, My Neighbor Seki, Flying Witch, Prophecy. Oh, Ajin is in that size as well. I love that size of manga. I wish that most manga was in that tiny format because it saves so much space. It's closer to the Japanese original volumes. It like fits so nicely in your hands. And so, yeah, that was most of the reason why this title was on my radar in the first place, because I knew it was in that format size. But yeah, I mean, either way, I do recommend checking this out, whether you decide to purchase it physically or digitally. To the Abandoned Sacred Beasts, at least the first 7 volumes of it, my first impressions are quite good. Really exciting, action-packed, and cool. Like, the incarnates are cool to learn about, like how they are kind of mixtures of different mythical kind of beings. It's just really cool. Anyway, if you've read this, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have read something similar that you would like to recommend, I would also love to hear that. But yeah, thanks for watching.